The secret patterns you must know to make money consistently in cryptocurrency. Yes, I'm going to cover them with you today. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't know me by now, my name is Jagir. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Been featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, where I only used to focus on currencies, but now exclusive on crypto. So let's dive straight in. First things first. Now over here, you're going to see this pattern over here. You want to know the market moves in fives and threes. Fives and threes. Really, really macro. And you'll see these patterns time and time again. And what tends to happen is there's waves within the waves. And what I'm showing you right now is something called Elliott Waves, which is the baseline, the foundation of how the markets tend to move. It's one of the most powerful tools. But this is the 5-wave sequence followed by a 3. So this is what I want you to be aware of. Then we're going to look at some live charts. I'm going to challenge you to see if you can figure out what chart it is. So on a micro level, we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on a macro level, which means kind of bigger degree picture, when we're really, really zooming out, what we can see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to look at some where these patterns are very, very evident. And the key points that you want to identify, because up here, after a 5-wave sequence, you tend to get a big 3-wave, what's called a correction, where it's almost like the market's done a sprint. There's been a lot of buying activity, and then it needs a rest. It needs a breather. And that means selling activity tends to follow. And this doesn't matter about the fundamentals. It doesn't matter about what the roadmap's looking like, etc., etc. That plays a certain role, but most of the markets in crypto, but also traditional markets like stocks, commodities like gold and oil, forex markets like currencies, are actually driven by the human emotion of fear and greed. So now let's dive into a live chart. When I say a live chart, so this is the theory. In other words, this is the theory. This is the textbook that we're looking at. And now we're going to look at, this is what it looks like in real life. Can you see a pattern in reference to this in this particular part of the market over here? Well, what I see over here, and this is what you want to identify in advance, and I'm going to show you some key skills, is when a market moves up and it's got a 3-wave correction, what tends to happen next is a new movement. The market expands again. And if you can identify these high probability patterns, it gives you the edge to ride this part of the market. So you can ideally buy low and sell high. So the first pattern that we want to identify is a wave 2. Yes, this wave 2. The second is going to be a wave 4. And then the third is really going to be the end of a wave 5, because this is where we want to buy, and we want to sell. This last one is profit taking. This is here, we want to buy and buy. We also want to be aware of this wave 3. So now let's just look at that on a practical level and see if you can guess what chart this is. So the first one is here. This is a textbook, what's called an ABC correction. ABC. Market moves up, does a sprint, and it needs a breather, it needs a rest. And more often than not, it occurs in 3 waves. And when it occurs in 3 waves like this, and we actually did this particular chart, see if you can guess what it is. We did it last year before it takes off. And there's particular ratios that we want to also be aware of as well. So look what happened next. Bang, right? How powerful is that? How powerful is that to be able to identify in advance? That's the key here. Because once the market's taken off, people start buying over here. Go, that's the wrong time to buy. This is where you want to be taking profits. Really, where you're looking to buy is finding these patterns. It's pattern recognition in advance. So what's the next pattern? So first of all, be aware of when to buy and when to sell. Right? When to buy and when to sell. When the market is really taking off, what I want you to know is it takes energy for the price to move up. And the energy is people buying, right? Think of it as monetary energy, and people are buying. They've got optimism in the project for whichever reason, and they're buying. But eventually that buying power sells, or it runs out. It runs out. So the next pattern that we want to be aware of is this pattern over here. This is called a wave 4. So we go, okay, markets move 1, 2, 3, wave 4. We want to be aware of these. One, from a buying opportunity, when you see a wave 4, a clean wave 4, buying opportunity, but also the beginning of a wave 4 is where you also want to be considering taking profits, because wave 4 is actually a profit-taking wave. Yeah, now think about it. If you manage to identify this in advance and the price has gone up here, That's like a nearly 10 times multiple in this particular case. What are you going to be looking to do? Well, you should be looking to take some profits, right? Some profits. And the mass herd buying and selling mentality is the same. But many fall for the trap of trying to buy here only for the market to pull back against them. So we want to be aware of this. So the game that we're playing is we're trying to get 2 steps ahead of the market. Most people are 2 steps behind the market, trying to chase. We want to anticipate. So the next pattern that we want to be aware of, to be able to identify in advance, is what we call a wave 4. Why wave 4? Because remember, 5s and 3s. So what tends to happen after a wave 4? There's a wave 5, and it can be quite explosive. And this particular one really, really took off, right? And it's really important. I just want to show you this as I'm telling you about this. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's really, really clear. It's like this is textbook stuff, as in you saw the theory, and this is the practical application. And we did videos on this over here. We did videos over here. We did videos over here. And we say, hey guys, time to sell. Time to take profits. Now, also it's important to note that this wave 5, this last part of the leg, also tends to break down into 5 waves. And that gives us a massive clue to be able to identify in advance the end of the trend. So there's this great saying when it's trading, in traditional trading, is the trend is your friend, ride it until its end. So here we've identified this trend down, let's say here, the trend is your friend, ride it until its end, identify the wave 3, which is until it reaches its bend. So the trend is your friend, ride it until its the trend is your friend, ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. And the bend in practical terms is wave 5, right? Wave 5. And when you see a very clear wave 5, it's time to get out. It's time to get out. It's time to get out. I don't care. No, I don't care how optimistic the project is. I don't care what the roadmap looks like. I don't care what partnerships have come into play. Human psychology, what Ralph Nelson Elliott, what we're looking at here right now, is sociology and psychology playing out. And Ralph Nelson Elliott in the 1800s and the 1900s, over a century ago, figured this stuff out with all markets and all time frames. He says it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's stocks and shares, whether it's commodities like gold or wheat or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. This psychology plays out. So we almost forget what we're looking at and just look at the pure, beautiful psychology of the price action. Because what tends to occur after wave 5, and we said this in advance, you'll go back and you'll see the video because I'm going to reveal to you what this is, because this is the position of this particular token today. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? Let's just quickly do a summary before I reveal what this is. So we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to identify the 2s. We want to identify, well, we do want to identify the 3s as well, because this is where you should be potentially taking some profits. Wave 4s, and then the end of wave 5. Because after the end of wave 5 is what you see as a big, normally a 3-wave correction. This particular ratios. So have you guessed what it is? All right, it is Solana. This is Solana. Yes, we projected this wave 2 in advance at around $22, $25, and it went to like $270 up here, and now it's corrected right the way back down, And people thought I was crazy when they said, yeah, it's Solana. Like it is, like the bullishness of this project, Layer 1 solution, is insane. It's going to carry on going up. It's not going to correct. I said, look, I'm ignoring that it's Solana. Hey, look, I love you, Solana. Yeah, got nothing against you, but I don't really care. I just go, look, price action and behavior is price action and behavior. So right now, Solana is in this. So what I want to leave you with is when the market's moving a 5-wave sequence and then a big correction, it tends to repeat itself again. And what I mean by this, because this is really, really important, what most people don't realize, is on a micro scale on this part of the market, we saw this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an A, B, C. So that in itself is a 5 and a 3. And then it expands, and it does its next 5. Look at this, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an A, B, C, which is the wave 4. So that's this part of the market. And then guess what? It does the same again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when it's an end of a wave 5, the whole sequence corrects, and it's a big ABC correction. And then what we anticipate is now this becomes a wave 1 and a wave 2, and then the market continues to the upside. So I know we covered a lot there. If you're interested in learning the key secrets of Elliott Wave and Fibonacci, I've actually created a free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. Is in the link below. You'll see this page, you'll click on it. It says free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. And one of the things that I cover in the Masterclass is the 3 Elliott Wave rules and guidelines that makes it easier for you to identify these patterns in advance. Would you like a challenge before I leave you today? Right, let's do one more. Let's do one more. So here's a chart for you. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is? Do you know what it is? It is a top, I think it's top 10 now, top 10 this particular cryptocurrency. But look at this. Look at this. So what I'm going to do over here, we're going to see this down here, this wave. So this is the theory. I've just laid it over the practical. That's a wave 1. We're looking for a wave 2. And then on this particular chart, again, we're looking to identify this in advance. We're looking to know an end of a wave potential 3. We're looking for an end of a wave 4. Bump, 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 3 waves. And then a potential last leg. And this is where the price is today, by the way. We actually did a recent video more on this as well, a wave 1 and ABC of a wave 2. Very, very important. Because if you can identify these in advance, it gives you a massive edge. So look at this. This is what we're seeing here. Is a wave 3. We're looking for a nice wave 4. Textbook, look at this. Doesn't get much better than this. Bang. And then now it's this wave 1 and wave 2. So when I'm looking at this, this is what I was referring to in the videos. This wave 1 and then an ABC of a 2. That's what this is in theory. Because afterwards you expect a massive explosive move, and we've got the beginning of that. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It's just because we can only do probabilities and never certainties and use this as a guideline. But this is what we're anticipating, an end of a wave 5. And if it does do an end of a wave 5, where whatever position you have, you just want to be hyper aware of if it does a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after a 5-wave sequence. Well, you know what happens, right? It tends to have a big correction, and then the whole sequence tends to repeat because the markets moves in cycles and trends. Cycles and trends. So have you guessed what chart this is? Have you guessed? Have a guess. Right, it is Avalanche, aka AVAX. So it's a layer 1 solution, 2 layer 1 solutions, but these patterns, they're in different positions. Like Solana's in a different psychological buying and selling position to Avalanche, both doing really, really well from a market cap perspective, and they're doing some interesting stuff. But here we're just looking at pure technicals. So if you want to learn how to do this, I'm going to show you on a live website actually. Let me go to my website. So in the description below, you'll click on the link, free Elliott Wave and Fibonacci Masterclass. I cover a lot in the masterclass, so it gives you a real flavor on Elliott Waves and how to read the markets like a pro. Once you click on this link, it will take you to this page, and it just gives you a bit more detail on what we've created and how we've created it. So it's all in play, and you just literally click, yes, show me how. You can just put in some details, and bam, you'll get instant access to the masterclass. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. I'm here to bring you value, simple crypto and blockchain education. And one of the key things is to be able to read the market like a pro, to be able to see what's very likely to occur in the very near future. So in other words, identify a wave 2 before a wave 3 kicks off. Identify the end of a wave 3 before a wave 4 correction. Identify the end of a wave 4 before a wave 5. And identify the end of a wave 5 before, trend is your friend, ride it until its end, until it reaches its wave 5 bend. Then get out. It's like get out before the big correction takes off. And you'll see that time and time again. All right, let's finish on a quote it's one of my favorite quotes actually today. It is from one of the greatest athletes of all time. See if you can guess who this is. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Yes, my friends, that is Michael Jordan. And the reason I bring that up is Elliott Waves is a very powerful tool, and we are in this $1 trillion trend, or the beginning of this $1 trillion trend called blockchain and cryptocurrency. And it's revolutionizing the world more than the internet itself, because it's quite special. It's the first time in human history where we don't need a middle party of trust. So the cost of trust actually decreases by 10,000 times. And people are finding new use cases for that. But we're very early. It's like the internet all over again in 1995. And the reason I tell you that is being able to read the price action is not only important for the days, weeks, and months to come. We're talking about the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and the next 20 years. So now is the time to really sharpen your axe. So when you see these utility tokens and different types of tokens, what is the buying and selling behavior? Because the project may be improving, but the price is going down. But why is the price going down as the project's improving? Think about it. Well, it's just human psychology of people taking profits and buying and selling and speculating on the market, betting on the market. And what we're aiming to do is measure the psychological mood. And one of the best ways, in fact, the best way that I found in over 15 years is Elliott Waves. So take the free Elliott Wave Fibonacci Masterclass, enjoy it, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my live workshops and in my private Telegram community. All right, I'll see you soon.